The Supreme Court of the United States has just delivered a devastating blow to Donald Trump. In a swift and extraordinary move, the court denied his emergency appeal, a ruling legal experts are already calling unprecedented in both speed and finality. Within minutes of the decision, Pulitzer Prize-winning conservative columnist George Will went on national television and declared that Trump's legal strategy has completely collapsed. This is a moment few thought they would ever witness. A former president's last line of defense is crumbling in real time. The highest court in the land, including 3 justices Trump himself appointed, just told him no. Not a split decision, not a narrow ruling, a unanimous rejection that leaves his legal team with nowhere left to turn. This is no longer about a single court case. This is about presidential accountability, about the Constitution, about whether the rule of law still means anything in America. And the implications of what just happened will reshape American politics for decades. What just happened? Trump's legal team filed an emergency application with the Supreme Court late last week, asking the justices to halt proceedings in his federal election interference case while they considered his sweeping immunity claims. His argument: a former president cannot be criminally prosecuted for actions taken while in office. In effect, a claim that presidents are above the law. Legal analysts said this was Trump's last realistic hope to delay his trial until after the election. On January 7th, the Supreme Court rejected the application outright. No dissent, no delay, no further review. Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. Not one justice believed Trump's argument even deserved additional consideration. A complete shutout. The unsigned order stated that Trump failed to show he is likely to succeed on the merits of his immunity claim. In plain English, the justices are signaling that even if this issue comes back to them later, Trump is going to lose. CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin called it the most definitive rejection of presidential immunity claims in American history. Why George Will's reaction matters. George Will is not a liberal commentator celebrating Trump's downfall. He is the intellectual backbone of American conservatism, Pulitzer Prize winner, architect of modern Republican thought, advisor to presidents, founding panelist of ABC's This Week. When George Will speaks, the Republican establishment listens. And within an hour of the ruling, Will appeared on Fox News and delivered what amounted to a legal obituary for Trump's defense. He said, "What we witnessed today is the complete evaporation of a legal fantasy. The notion that a president, having lost an election, could attempt to retain power through extra-constitutional means and then claim immunity from prosecution was always constitutionally absurd. Now it is legally dead." Coming from a man who defended Republican presidents for half a century, those words carry enormous weight. The strategy that just died. Trump's entire political strategy has been built on delay. Delay the trial, win the election, return to the White House, make the prosecutions disappear. According to reporting from the Washington Post, Trump's legal team believed they could push the federal trial past November through procedural maneuvering. The Supreme Court just destroyed that plan. Judge Tanya Chutkan is now free to proceed, and there is nothing left in Trump's legal arsenal to stop her. A pattern of demanding loyalty and being rejected. We've seen this story before. Trump demands absolute loyalty from institutions that are designed to be independent. And when they refuse, he turns on them. Bill Barr, Trump's most loyal attorney general, shielded him during Mueller, intervened for his allies, defended him publicly. But when Barr investigated Trump's election fraud claims and found them baseless, he said so. Trump exploded. Barr resigned. Trump branded him a traitor. The sin was not disloyalty. It was telling the truth. The Supreme Court Trump appointed a third of the court. He expected loyalty. Instead, the justices rejected every one of his election challenges, often unanimously. Mike Pence, the most deferential vice president in modern history, defended Trump through every scandal. But when Trump demanded Pence overturn the election, Pence refused, because the Constitution gave him no such power, and for that act of fidelity, Trump turned a mob against him. "Hang Mike Pence" echoed through the Capitol. What the evidence shows, special counsel Jack Smith's indictment alleges a sweeping conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election, pressuring state officials to change vote totals, organizing fake electors, pressuring the Justice Department to declare fraud, pressuring the vice president to block certification, all while knowing the fraud claims were false. Trump's legal strategy was simple: delay everything, motion after motion, appeal after appeal, more pretrial filings than nearly any modern federal prosecution. But the courts weren't buying it. Judge Chutkan rejected motion after motion. The D.C. Circuit issued a devastating 60-page opinion rejecting his immunity claim. And now the Supreme Court has slammed the door. Not slowly, not cautiously, immediately. Nowhere left to go. Trump's lawyers now face an impossible choice. They must please Trump by projecting defiance and claiming persecution. But in court, they need real legal arguments. And their strongest argument just died at the Supreme Court. An effective legal defense would require Trump to do what he refuses to do: acknowledge wrongdoing, express remorse, accept reality that is incompatible with his brand. So his lawyers are trapped between Trump's ego and the law. Reality always wins in court. Political shockwaves. The Supreme Court just handed Democrats their most powerful argument. They can now say even Trump's own justices rejected his claims. That neutralizes the witch hunt narrative. Meanwhile, MAGA supporters are attacking the court itself, calling it compromised, illegitimate, part of the deep state. Some are even calling for impeachment of Trump-appointed justices. That rhetoric is dangerous. It's the same logic that led to January 6th. George Will warned that this moment is a stress test for American constitutional governance. Whether the Republican Party remains committed to the rule of law or becomes something unrecognizable. The trial is coming on January 8th. Judge Chutkan issued a new trial schedule. She wrote that Trump has exhausted all appellate remedies. There is no legal basis for further delay. She said his repeated attempts to postpone proceedings do a disservice to the public and to the integrity of the judicial process. That is a direct judicial rebuke. Conservative legal voices agree. Andrew McCarthy of National Review said Trump's team now has nowhere left to go but trial.